just to kick it off, we did hear about, the panel right before lunch talk about the tech investments and how the HR fraternity is leveraging the ML/AI and some of these platforms to drive better productivity, right? The debate around, bringing workforce back to office or let them work from anywhere or in a hybrid scenario, 2 days a week, 3 days a week, has been there off and on, right? We had the 3 COVID or maybe even more, the COVID waves driving that, okay, return to office, okay, wait, and come back again. But I think the era that we are in today, ChatGPT notwithstanding, is an intervention from the tech, tools to enable, work from anywhere or a hybrid workforce, right? And the rise of automation and the investments that some of you have made, as budget holders towards enabling that is really paving the way forward, right? Improving the workforce productivity, right? So how do we create a workforce that is both productive, engaged, at the same time committed to achieving excellence, right? So that's really some insights that I want to share with you. Again, there was a survey that was done by SHRM recently in conjunction with ProHance, which 44, and some of you may be here, the HR leaders really responded to across industry verticals as to what really is in the next 2-3 years, what's really happening with the hybrid work arrangement. That is, that's going to be there and increase in fact by 7%, right? Again, this is recognizing the flexibility that the employees desire today, right? The same flexibility that you provided during COVID, that you could work from anywhere. People want to kind of continue with that. Again, the remote work to continue to remain prevalent. The challenges that you see today from a hybrid workplace, from an employer perspective, is getting the employee productivity, right? That's really the challenge. So 57% alluded to that. The employee experience, engagement, and motivation, that's about 39%. How to ensure that people, wherever they are working from, are really engaged. So we had the, the great resignation wave, as it is called, post the second COVID wave. People really resigned, and wanted flexibility in their work environment. So coupled with that was moonlighting. So people were working, maybe basis their choice or their skill set in multiple firms. And again, last, the human capital costs, trying to optimize the costs, right? And I work for a BPO, so that's really of paramount importance to firms like ours, right? The human capital costs, how do you maintain that balance? But again, the implementation of the hybrid workforce scenario, the tools that really can enable that, so that's the crux of it, right? How do you ensure the workforce efficiency, the work-life balance, and reducing the employee costs? So that's what the survey is really talking about. Again, another one was talking about what are the tech interventions or the automation opportunities, and which areas really you would want to look at. Again, in terms of rank, first rank being performance management and productivity. I know this session is sponsored by ProHance and they have a booth outside, so I would welcome the opportunity for you guys to start looking at some of these tools, right? The workforce management tools that can pave that way forward. Again, communication and collaboration is ranked second, and engagement and retention. Like I said, the great resignation wave really didn't help because to hire again and rehire and train, we end up spending 6 times the cost, right? So automating in these key areas really paves the way for a hybrid workforce management, arrangement that you are enabling, right? The other area was looking at what is the frequency of data, reviews that, HR leaders or operating leaders are really leveraging within the organization. So most of them said that they are reviewing it on a quarterly basis, or some said on a monthly basis. Now this is a paradox because the data that today, and we are talking about employees who are born with really the iPads in their hands, right? So they are used to a real-time intervention, real-time feedback, real-time coaching, and the data is available through these tools today for you to leverage and give that feedback. So this is something that is an opportunity for us to kind of ponder and think through that if the data is available real-time, why do you want to wait for a quarter to kind of give that feedback whether it's training, coaching, or mentoring, right? This is vital for a hybrid workforce environment, and across the HR life cycle, you would kind of understand, how technology is being leveraged. Again, the focus areas or high priority areas were these, around the communication, collaboration, engagement, retention, etc. I don't want to spend too much of time on this because this is kind of self-explanatory. But again, it tackles, the real challenges and optimizes the hybrid work benefits, right? What I really wanted to cover is some of my experience leveraging these tools at FirstSource and in my previous life as well. Again, these tools provide you real-time insights, from the workforce engagement, and that's the term that I want to use, the workforce engagement management, WEM, as opposed to workforce management, because this requires a strategic approach, right? So what difference it makes to our frontline associates versus the managers versus the leadership, right? The associates use this data like a Fitbit. They want to know on a real-time basis how they're performing, what's their work pattern, how they can adjust, what is their intervention required for enhanced productivity, right? Because that's the expectation from leaders like yourselves. Again, for managers, it facilitates improved capacity planning, work allocation. So I know what's the skill set to leverage where, right? So that's the work allocation. For leadership, it's the visibility into the workforce engagement. So the platform itself enables that, and the leadership, rather than looking at multiple reports, which is outdated by the time it reaches their desk, can look at these tools, pretty much, on a real-time basis. Again, that paves the way for a positive and an engaged workforce, which is critical to business success. Like I said, the workforce engagement platforms, right? And this really creates that environment which we all desire today, right? In a hybrid scenario, right? How does it foster engagement, collaboration, and innovation, right? Where people are really aware or self-aware of what really is happening, right? Right from the associates to the managers to the leadership. And how I did that, this is just a slide, a representative slide. Again, we leveraged ProHance as one of the tools. Then we have our client tools as well. And then some of our internal tools that really, went into that crunching engine. And then we leveraged very pointed data visualization tools like Power BI, etc., to point out, what really are the interventions required. And again, the outcomes are on the right-hand side, the workload balancing, etc., that I shared, skill mapping, reduction in cost of delivery, etc. So this is really some of the best practices, how we leveraged analytics, operational analytics, on a real-time basis to drive the outcomes, is leveraging those data analytics for workforce engagement management, right? You need to really focus on that because the emerging technologies and change management is something that is going to be very critical for the next, associates that you're hiring, right? And you'll see that, change in the attitudes and change in the behavior immediately. The cultural transformation is really hinges on collaboration, trust, and transparency. So just like you have a Fitbit, which gives you a real-time statistics, you have tools now that enable that as well. Yeah. Again, that's a long-term endeavor, long-term target for all of us. I'm sure leaders like yourselves are interested. So I would encourage you to make that time to see those investments at the right times, the interventions. And obviously, the automation and the workforce management tools are helping us drive that, combined with the leadership commitment, right? That's the critical aspect, right? Like for change management and effective communication, and then focusing on creating a positive work environment, right? That's what the next generation is really looking for.